stretching.
It's okay, you can play in the water.
still filming.
Oh, when I was a kid, I mean, when you talk about the swimming pools per se, but we used to go down to the inner harbor and we used to fish and crab down there all the time. But I wouldn't dare fish or crab down there today. The city is the only city that allows certain companies, factories to discard contaminated, a certain percentage of contaminated fluids into the harbor, into our watersheds. When you talk around about the Harris Creek Underground watershed right there at Boston Street, and that water was tested, it was toxic already. I don't think the city is ready to deal with the environmental issues, especially when it comes to water, because they're building these $800,000, $2 million homes along it. And if you can't sell this type of property and educate the people, warn the people that this harbor is contaminated. I mean, every year we have thousands of fish death right here in the harbor. I think it's really played down as far as the real problem of it. Excuse me, when you go down to the harbor, you'll see signs saying that that you'll be fine if you go fishing or crab. There should be signs down there saying do not fish or crab. Baltimore has a high population of homeless people and low-income families. You can go down there by the harbor anytime at night, because that's when the fishing runs up into the harbor. But you can go down there at night and you see these people actually fishing and crabbing. We have even witnessed people down there who would like catch a fish, and they're actually cutting out the cancer sores as if you would do like an apple or a peach. You cut out the rotten part. And when you ask me, what are you doing? It's where I'm cutting the bad part. Fish, the whole fish is bad. So like I said, I think the education, educating people in the community is at a very low.
A lot of black people and maybe people like myself didn't venture to places like Jones Falls, because if it was a white community, it was just like asking for trouble. You know, it's like, why, you know, you don't go there, and if you go there, you're riding through. Even as close as going up like 28th Street, where I'm not sure if you're familiar with how 25th Street kind of curves around, and then it crosses over 28th and 29th Street, which is right near Jones Falls, Hamilton. That was an area that, you know, I know for myself, even driving, I've had like kids throwing rocks at my car. Oh yeah. So you just didn't go places alone, and you know, because of fear of being attacked. You know, we're always hearing about, you know, black kids attacking white kids, but they never talk about the white kids who attack black kids. You know, that's a kind of was a real issue in Baltimore in the especially in the 50s and 60s. You know, so we just didn't venture out in places like that because a lot of them that's what they did. They, you know, they hung out in these watersheds and these creeks and stuff. And black kids didn't do it. You know, we went to the beaches. You know, we went where we were, where we had outlaw people. We went to, like I said, we went to the beaches, the Cars Beach, the Smallwood, Sandy Point, and places like that. And that's where we got our water experience. You know, other than going to maybe a Y.
When you talk about the watershed, I refer to the Jones Falls watershed, where whenever there's a real heavy storm, that there's a soil waistline that actually spits more sewage out. If you're ever on the Jones Falls Expressway after heavy rain, and you're right near the Pepsi-Cola plant, you can smell this real sewage. So the sewage, after heavy rain, actually comes out. But once the water settles, you have all this raw sewage on the rocks, on the shorelines. Or when you go down further down into the other neighborhoods, the neighborhood that this is next to is called Remington Community. When you go further south into the other neighborhoods, you actually see children actually playing in the water, but they have no idea what just happened. A quarter of a mile or half a mile away from where they're located at. And most importantly, all this stuff flows right into the
communicating to each other, and we have to know where the pollution is coming from, and how do we interact with them. You know, and it's the same thing whether it's local or local people connecting with other local municipalities and saying to them, hey, you know, we got an issue here. You know, because I don't know what the overall effect would be, but if what you're doing up here is messed up down here, eventually it's going to come back up to you, and people need to understand that that's the way it happens. And I think that people don't know. People don't know the impacts, and that's where, you know, people just keep doing the same wrong things because they don't know the impacts, and they don't care because they don't think that it's going to affect them. And that's where you need people like Dr. Trush, who understands that flow, because it's the same thing with air quality. It's like we may not have factories here in Baltimore City, but we're getting the impacts from other cities impacting Baltimore City.
It tries to capture that below the street level, there's an entire infrastructure that supports the city. Manhattan, New York, any place. And the watershed, the 17 neighborhoods, they're all connected. They have to be connected. In order to get water off the streets down into the harbor, there's 55 miles of pipes in Harris Creek to do that. 55 miles of pipes. So the connection is there. So if you're connected below the street, why can't you find a way to get connected above the street? That's one of the ways we're trying to get people to understand. And what happened was, in fact, some of the council people could not believe that we got all 17 neighborhoods together. Because you went from Canton, which is medium income, $50,000 to maybe $10,000-12,000. You went from 10% African Americans to 70%. And so it was a big difference. And how would you get all together? So when we had 17 years, the president was there, Jim Harrison, I've never seen this before. And because we were able to find something that they know people had to do with injustice or trash.
Wood.